Where does the Experimental Medicine Incubator fit within DPUK and indeed in the dementia landscape? What's it achieving?
Yes, well, the Experimental Medicine Incubator is one of three principal pillars of DPUK, alongside the data portal and the trial delivery framework. What the Experimental Medicine Incubator is really all about is to accelerate clinical trials by two things. One is demonstrating whether the biological processes that underlie neurodegeneration are actually relevant to the human disease and should be targeted as priorities for future treatments. And alongside that, developing the tools needed to show whether a drug is working, and to show that in a cost-effective and time-effective way, so that we can make early decisions to either commit future resources and effort, patient effort, into the most promising drugs, and to be able to put aside drugs that were good possibilities, but when tested in the human context turn out not to be so likely. So it's around the tools to demonstrate that, and that their targets, the biological targets, are relevant for human disease.
What is the experimental incubator able to do that industry on its own, for instance, would be able to do?
Yes, I think the Experimental Medicine Incubator is really special in the dementia ecosystem because of this unique model and the partnership between the academic, industrial, and the charitable sector, and the funders and patient advocacy groups. And what we do is we try and understand the common goal, our shared goal, to have better diagnosis and especially better treatment, and to work out how jointly we can get there, bringing to the table those things that each partner has special expertise in, and to align them, to coordinate the steps towards that common goal. An example of that is the challenge that no matter what drug one might have coming forward as a possibility that the companies or academics might be bringing forward, there's a shared problem, which is how do you show that it's effective? How do you show it getting into the human brain, turning off a driver of the human disease and showing benefit? How do you show that in a time and cost-effective way, and with tools that are reliable to scale up and take out to future human clinical trials?
The interesting thing about the Experimental Medicine Incubator is its relationship with the other two pillars of DPUK. That's the trials delivery, and of course you've already mentioned the data portal. Is this a virtuous circle? Are we generating more than we would from single efforts in each of those areas?
Yes, I mean, so DPUK is so much more than the sum of its parts, and this is through the alignment and the coordination and joined up thinking that go behind these pillars. So the data portal with information around genetics and the clinical picture of patients and healthy adults as we get older, and some of the biological tools like imaging. How can that data be used to give positive indicators, priorities, if you like, for targets and tools to take forward? It has the trial delivery framework, able to have that brokerage between volunteers and their best research they can take part in, enabling access for everybody to have access to research opportunities, sometimes stratified by the type of illness, their stage of illness, or maybe their genetics, but to find a route into research. And then the research activities themselves through the Experimental Medicine Incubator. And then with the science that's done through the incubator, also the critical step is to feed that data back to the data portal to make it accessible, not just to the researchers that are in DPUK, but actually globally to new researchers to take forward, to really make sure that every participant interaction has maximum long-term impact.
Is it possible to say, if you like, as a model that has that collaboration at its heart, how much more impactful other dementia science would be were it to be, if you like, built around that kind of model?
Yes, so we see that efficiency both in doing better targeted science, more effective science. We also see it in making sure the science is made available so people are not doing unnecessary duplications, and also not losing opportunities to add value. So within the incubator, for example, there are 3 headline groups around vascular health, neuroimmunology, and synaptic health. But through the detailed operational implementation of these studies, they're actually quite joined up. So those with synaptic studies, we're also taking the biomarkers and measures that link to the neuroimmunity, the neuroinflammation. The neuroinflammation is closely linked to the vascular supply to the brain and interactions with blood vessels. So their studies are also coordinated. so that we have so much more than the sum of the parts. And this is, I think, really special about the planning and structure of DPUK.
And of course, the PET scans, the MRIs, everything, all this vast amount of data is available for repurposing in other studies that are yet to be designed.
That's right. So we use repurposed data to inform and shape and get most likely successes through the experimental medicine, but that data is also fed back. So that insights of successes, insights of things that perhaps don't go so well and one wouldn't want to take forward, that can all be shared. So in the long run, there's maximal efficiency.